And we are back. Apologies, yeah, sod's law really. Couple of technical issues, but Hugh Jones is over again. The British and Irish Lions, or just after they thought they could see the try, it was ruled out. They've got themselves to the other end, and Hugh Jones is in for the double. Brilliant work from him. Frustrating heartbreak really here for the Waratahs. We might yet have another look at this. And Hugh Jones I'm not sure what we're looking at. Just steps away from one, powers through, goes down, has a place on the line. I don't think there's any issue there whatsoever. Yeah, I think trials were good. They've checked it and there no issues there. Just really trying to make sure that we're all good here on my side of the sort of setup after some technical issues. Rather have, I suppose, now than during the Bok game later, which is the big feature game of the day for our audience. Right, and we're all back and ready to go. Half time approaching. Mitchell Jones the back. Got a pretty poor pass there, and Lucan Dick's going to have to go back and clean up. Not the only one with technical issues. We got no scoreboard on the. Oh, sure, but it's got the wrong flipping game there as well. So it's all happening here, people. I'll sort out the scoreboard in just a second. The score is not 31 points to 17. It's 14 points to 0. But just having trying to get back from. There we go. 40 points to 0. A bit of space on the left-hand side for Lancaster. Just trying to sort these. Oh, he's going to go all the way. He is all the way. Well, it's all happening here. Trying to fix trees, trick studios. And Lancaster, in the meantime, says, well, while you're doing that, I'm just going to quickly score. Waratahs back in it. That's a really good try as well. Tupou, pick up and go. Commits the one defender. Lyoto draws and passes, and then it's a partial tackle for Hugo Keane. He's got to do better. He has to do better. And the Waratahs, just before half time, exactly when they need to score as well. That's a very, very important try. I don't know if we're checking anything here. Potentially might. No issue there. The try has been awarded. Kick to come. It'll be a difficult one. Oh, we're checking again. Well, they've already had one. I was looking for foul play here. I don't know if this is against Waratahs or against the Lions. Are we looking at this tackle maybe on Tupou? For looking at the shot on Mac Hansen. And Mac Hansen doesn't complain about it. He gets back up over here. So looking at potential foul play. The commentators don't think there's foul play. They are Super Rugby commentators, so they don't think anything's foul play. No, they're going to chalk off the try. They're going to give you a yellow card, yeah. Yeah, no longer super rugby here, chaps. Well, now they're saying they've seen both arms wrapping. I don't know what they're actually talking about, yeah. Right, what's the referee got to say here? No. Yeah, no foul play. So it does. Yeah, I think it's right. Try stands. No, that's good officiating. I think that's right. I think that is right. You know, it was a big cleanup, but he's got both hands in there from a technique point of view. Matt Hansen's really low as well. Lots of mitigating factors. Try does stand. Kick to come just before the break. Well, the kick's gone wide. So 14 points to 5 is where it'll stand. Right, the restart. I'll be interested to see if they look to try and play the Waratahs or they would look to just basically pop this out and take half time. We actually had 36 minutes. Never mind, 36 minutes, 10 minutes. We finally got a scoreboard back, and the one that we're using is a bit ahead of time. To be fair, it's difficult to align with the stadium clock when that was working. So there's still 3 minutes left in the half. So still a bit to play for here for the Waratahs. Right, Luca and Dicky to feed the line. So 5 points to 14. Waratahs getting themselves back in the game with that try. It was a view, but let's try to stand. Mitchell now. Probably a short to Kinghorn. And stolen by the Waratahs now. Can they maybe have the last day of the half? So, okay, this from Tom Lambert. Wilson looking for options. To Bowen. Bowen goes to the boots. Lancaster's going to give chase. It falls back to Gamble. And Crichton just puts the ball over there, searching for that 50-22 potentially. Hugo Keenan's gone back to receive it up against the touchline. I think it's actually Kinghorn from the looks of it. It's bounced over. Oh, still going. To Bowen. They're going to try to run out of 22. They're doing pretty well here. Lancaster. Being brave here on the Waratahs. That's a nice little offload as well. Playing with a bit of confidence all of a sudden now, the Tars. Now Crichton sees a bit of space in behind. Backtracking is, looks like Hugo Keenan. That's going. It needs to stop. It's gone dead here, actually. Lancaster once again wants to have a run. Then he puts in the little banana kick. Does find touch. Not sure that time was the right option. And we've got everything sorted finally at long flip and last from a technical point of view. It took a while after our stream went down to sort everything out, but it's all been sorted. So that clock is correct as well, which is finally updated because we haven't actually had a scoreboard on the screen for a while as well. So 5 points to 14, coming up to 40-minute mark. And we'll make sure we sort all our technical issues out at halftime. So PG and everybody's going to jump back on the stream, and we'll be back to full functioning hopefully in the second half. Oh, just short. It's a good line being run there by Hugo Keenan. Waratahs can't afford to concede now. 5 points to 14. You go into halftime with a bit of momentum. You concede now. It's only 21 points to 5. That's a big margin. Mitchell to the right hand side. Tupoloto to the left hand side. Runs around the referee. Ball over the top. Kinghorn up against the touchline. Comes back inside. Good defense so far from Kellaway. Mitchell goes back to Ben Earl. Trying to win the ball on the ground. Mitchell goes short. Mitchell wrapped up by Tino Tupou. He's just holding him up. There goes the siren. Piers Schoeman now. Can the Waratahs force an error from the British and Irish Lions? Mitchell. Tupou goes himself. Mitchell goes short. Schoeman turning in the tackle, trying to get that offload away. Can't. Desperate defense now from the Waratahs. Finn Smith. Keenan. Hansen. Oh, it's an awful pass. Lucan Diggers kept it in, but Black Kungo now is having to clean up. And they've lost about 10 odd meters. Waratahs trying to flood that breakdown. I think I see the ball on the Waratahs side. It is on the Waratahs side, so Kenaway can just chip this out, and they've managed to do it. Yeah, they get to half time. Very nicely done by the Waratahs. Right, half time. 5 points to 14. Waratahs still in this plucky performance so far. Can they hold it up in the second half? We'll wait and see. Please don't go away. Please do smash like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. If you're new, try and see if we can get everybody back in over here during the break. Unfortunately, had a couple of technical issues. So we're starting to sort them all out now at half time. So don't go away. And we'll see you guys in just a little bit. Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Sports, and some pretty big news coming out of the British and Irish Lions camp. Another player going home injured in the form of Thomas Williams, with Scottish scrum half Ben White being called up to the squad. Somebody who I was quite surprised was left out in the first place, especially given the really good partnership he has formed with Finn Russell for Scotland in the last couple of years. And I thought that would have been a partnership that Andy Farrell would have liked to have utilised in the Lions during especially the test series. However, he was not included initially, but does get the opportunity. I'm going to go through it in a little bit. But before we do that, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. So, big news coming out this morning is that Thomas Williams suffered a hamstring in Saturday's win against the Western Force in Perth, and therefore he has been replaced. Now, let's start with Thomas Williams. I think Thomas Williams was probably going to be the bench sort of scrum half come the test series. The big news, Jamison Gibson-Park is fit and is named in the Lions side to take on the Reds this week, which we will discuss in a follow-up video. We're sort of breaking down that team and looking at exactly how Andy Farrell is starting to sort of build a side. We're actually looking quite deeply into his British and Irish Lions sort of squad and kind of looking at the playing minutes, for example, what combinations he's potentially looking at as Andy Farrell, and kind of sort of starting to get a feel of how this test team is going to look like in about a month's time when they start to take on the Wallabies in, well, actually a little bit less than a month's time in the official test series. But still plenty of games to go until then. We're also going to be talking a little bit about the Oz New Zealand sort of team that's been put together with a couple of players that have been announced. But yeah, so I think Thomas Williams is a player who, for me, is very close to Jamison Gibson-Park to have potentially even been a starter. I think he was one of the few Welsh players, obviously given the fact he's only one of two in the squad, that would make it into other potential international teams right now. I think Thomas Williams is a really, really top player. I think that he's quick with his delivery. I think he's got a phenomenal skill set. And I think that with a good opportunity, he would do really well in this British and Irish Lions side. I think he's one of those players who we don't get to see necessarily the best of him because he plays in a struggling Welsh side and behind a struggling Welsh pack. But I do think that in front or behind a really good pack and in a sort of game where he's got a little momentum, he can pick apart defenses, he can make the right decisions, and he can be a really, really vital cog in any team. But unfortunately, this is kind of how the cookie crumbles, sometimes. And he has left, and that gives a big opportunity for this man, Ben White, the 27-year-old Toulon scrum half, and a huge opportunity for him. I'll probably wager he'll play. He won't play this next. Obviously, he won't play this game because he's on the way there. But I reckon he'll play the week after or the game after. And they'll look to try and get him into the system quite quickly, because especially when you're coming into the squad, you've now missed the Portugal training camp, you've missed the Irish training camp and the training sort of week ahead of Argentina, you missed the first week on tour itself. You've now got to catch up a lot with regards to what's going on in the systems, and as a result, they'll probably look to try and integrate him as quickly as possible and maybe give him a bit of time on the field to sort of get to know exactly what's happening as well, because Andy Farrell will want to make sure that going into the test series against the Wallabies, everyone's been given a reasonable chance to try and prove themselves. Everyone's given a chance to sort of show what they're about and to make a claim for that British and Irish Lions jersey. Now, Alex Mitchell's played so far. We had Thomas Williams who have played so far. Now Jamison Gibson Park gets an opportunity. But with the injury to Thomas Williams, I think Ben White will sit there saying, I can give Alex Mitchell a go. I don't think there's too many people who are genuinely believe that Jamison Gibson Park won't be the starting British and Irish Lions number 9 come the Test series. He's such a top quality player. Arguably a form scrum half in the Six Nations, probably this form scrum half in the world this year. And from an international point of view, as we sort of now get to see the Southern Hemisphere scrum half start to maybe put in their case, but he's been top. But if you look at Ben White, he's a player who took a little bit of time really to get his sort of international career going a little bit. He made his debut back in 2022, I think it was, in the Six Nations, where he was involved more sort of as a bench player, really. And then it took a while to sort of get into that starting mix. But I think his big sort of breakthrough came pretty much 2023-24 in the World Cup. Didn't really get to play much, but did play a lot in the sort of Six Nations after that. And I think all of a sudden, after sort of Ali Price started phasing out, we've seen the Ben White rise. I think making that move to Toulon was a very good move for him. He's played a lot of really top games. He's been a big part of the Toulon squad. I mean, 13 matches this past season, 19 matches the season before. But the big thing, I think, for him is if we look at Scotland's Six Nations campaign, he played all 5 games and he started all of them this season. So, you know, he is now the first choice number 9. And that is the combination with Finn Russell that he's sort of established is becoming a key part of that Scottish side. And when Scotland are good, they're really good. And I think that a lot of what they're good at stems around the ability that Ben White has to make the right decisions. He's got a good skill set. I think he's quite an attacking nature scrum half. And I think that really suits, obviously, Finn Russell. Also pretty decent tactical, so you can kick off 9. And that'll be a big thing, you know, going to British and Irish Lions, learning how they're sort of going to kick and what sort of kicking game Andy DeFarrell is going to deploy. But there's opportunity here for Ben White. A couple of good games, you can throw yourself into the Test team. And this is what I probably love the most about British and Irish Lions tours, is that opportunity to basically come from not even being in the squad, to not even being in the fold, to all of a sudden getting that call up, getting into to the squad, and maybe training really well and getting that opportunity to be in the Test side and become a Test cap Lion. I mean, he would have been sitting there going into his off season at the moment. And it's an interesting situation because a lot of British and Irish Lions qualified players are currently in their off season, but they can't really sort of switch off. Obviously, a lot of them going into sort of the international camps, but not all of them are involved in international camps. Some players are actually being scheduled for rest, but they've got to keep themselves available in case they get that call up, which is why a lot of them, I think, have made themselves available to go into the internationals right now, whereas some of it previously we have seen players being given time off now in this sort of period to get them refreshed ahead of next season. So what do you think? Can Ben White get himself into the mix and potentially be one of the options to start or to be on the bench for Andy Farrell come the Test series? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve, and I'll chat to you soon. Full time over in Queensland, and the Lions have hit 50 once again. Final score 54 points to 12. And again, to be fair, where the Reds start like a house on fire. They scored first, they put the pressure on the Lions, and at one stage looked like they were going to make a bit of a game of it. The Lions actually only took the lead for the first time in about the 20-odd minutes. But eventually, they kind of came good. And it was always going to be a bit of a matter of time. And once they came good, boy, were they really, really good. Just to correct on the score, it's actually 52 points. I've just seen now that missed the conversion did Finn Smith. But, yeah, I mean, Andy Farrell had been very frustrated with the start, but towards the end, we started to see a Lions side which is starting to click a little bit. And I think we've seen that in the first game as well against Western Force. A first start performance where they kind of look a little bit disjointed. You can see it's a team of players who haven't played a lot together. As the game starts to go, they start clicking to gear. And this is the big challenge for Andy Farrell, is to get them to click and to get them playing well together very quickly and to not have that sort of early on lull. But before we sort of break the game down, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Let's have a look, shall we? So, as mentioned, Tuamaga Allen went over in the 7th minute with Lofton Phillips adding the extras to make it 7-0 after 8 minutes. What a start that was from the Reds. And the Lions looked a little bit shell-shocked, to be perfectly honest. The Reds, I mean, even their first try came from winning a scrum penalty, from putting a bit of pressure on Freeman, causing a knock-on, getting themselves into good areas, scoring that try, getting that momentum. They then conceded a try. About 10 minutes later, Tommy Freeman eventually going over to open the scoring for the Lions to make it 7-7. But not for very long before Fluke went over in the 26th minute. However, that was cancelled out pretty early by Porter with Russell adding the extras. So the Lions actually took the lead for the first time on about the half-hour mark, which shows you that for the first half an hour, things were pretty tight. Yes, the Lions had more territory, they had more possession, and they looked definitely the more dangerous of the two teams. But it definitely didn't look like a completely one-sided affair. Unfortunately, that try from Duan van der Merwe in the 35th minute, probably the killer, just before half-time, to make it 21 points to 12. Now, 21 points to 12, you're still thinking, right, we're kind of in this game. You know, another try after half-time. We can get into there, we can get quite close. But if they hadn't scored that, they would have been going 2 points down. And that all of a sudden becomes game on. Now, unfortunately for the Reds, they would have gone into the change rooms and had a long conversation about starting well, about putting pressure back on the Lions, making them panic a little bit. But the Lions would have said, right, we need to go out and bury them quickly. And they did that with an early try in the 44th minute from Mario Toju, who had a very good game as captain. And after that, 23 points to 12, that kind of swung the momentum. Now, they didn't manage to really score much until into the 60 minutes. But when the bench came on, there was definitely a marked improvement in the Lions' performance. It definitely upped the levels of the game. So that's going to be the big thing that the Lions have is a world-class bench. You've got players like Edis Genge coming off the bench, Gary Ringrose, Alex Mitchell, Finn Smith, Ben Earl, all these sort of players coming off the bench, Luke Cowan Dickey, and that's where they're always going to have the advantage over any of the other sides they play, probably even including the Wallabies, in terms of just having such a good bench. And they couldn't really just cope with it, to be perfectly honest. So, Jack Morgan went over, Tommy Freeman went over, Hugh Jones went over, and Gary Ringrose right at the end there as well to finish it. But, I mean, at the end of the day, these are some of the stats. 56 minutes in the lead for the Lions, but 75% possession in the last 10 minutes, and that was kind of the big thing, really. You look at some of the other stats, 15 inches and 22 versus 7. I do think that the Reds had their chances, in fairness, but after initially a pretty poor display from a tackling point of view, the British and Irish Lions got a lot better with that. Interestingly, looking at the ruck speed, you can just see the Reds were trying to slow things down a bit more. Lions were happy to play at a very, very quick pace. And if we look at some of the other stats that we'll look at in a second, you'll kind of see some of the areas where the Lions started to dominate. But I'll tell you what, props to Les Kids for the start that they had and for the Reds taking the game to the Lions in the early stages of it. But in the end, territory 50-50 pretty much. Possession 50-50 as well. So it shows the Reds had opportunities. Set plays, I thought the Reds were reasonably good, actually. They won a couple of penalties. The lineup was all right. Lions were probably to work a little bit more on their line. I think they're a little bit disjointed at this stage. Mario Toje winning a couple of ones was quite big. Not a lot between the two teams. I thought the Lions in the first half were really poor with looking after possession. Far too many easy knock-ons, far too many mistakes. That got infinitely better, as did their defense, which by the end was at 87%, but at one stage was actually less than 75%. Kick-pass ratio was pretty identical. Number of kicks as well, very, very similar. In terms of some big performances, Jack Morgan, what a player. 18 tackles. I think he had the most, he had 3 turnovers, 1. He was absolutely everywhere. I mean, he's a player who I think could have been a tour captain. I think he will play in the test series. He was phenomenal. I thought Jack Conan was very solid. For Mario Tojo was close to his best. Tommy Freeman looked very busy. John van der Merwe looked very, very busy. That Gibson Park, Finn Russell combination is going to be really, really good for the Lions come the test series. So, job done for Andy Farrell. Not the most polished performance. That first half an hour will need a bit of a review. But majority of the game, they kind of went in second or third gear. Or second gear, really, and didn't really need to shift up to get the tries they did. So an impressive performance. You're watching Mac Hansen still catching up with some of the old lads. Obviously played a lot of rugby in Australia, did Mac Hansen. Not involved today. So we move on to the weekend. And so far, 2 from 2 on tour for the Lions. Both games hitting those 50 points. So, yeah, I mean, in theory, all going according to plan so far on tour. We're still waiting for that one team to really give them a bit of a shock. It was a slight shock here, but to sort of be at 50, 60 minutes to still potentially be in the game, hoping probably for the Brumbies or that Australia, New Zealand sort of Pacific team to probably try and do that. Let me know what you thought about the game down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve, and I'll chat to you soon. Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Sports. A very interesting week in the British and Irish Lions after a thrashing of the Reds. A much better game than what we saw last weekend, and the Reds definitely put up a much better fight than the Western Force. And we're going to see kind of what sort of fight awaits for us tomorrow morning. I personally think that the Lions will probably put another 50-plus score on. But hopefully we will see a bit more resistance coming. And, you know, what's very exciting is I think that Australia, New Zealand side is starting to brew into something very, very good. Betty, for example, confirmed recently this year. Pete Samu, this week, has also been confirmed. We've got Shannon Frizzell coming back, so it should be a pretty good side as well. But the big news over in the British and Irish Lions camp has been the ruling out of Elliot Daly, and his replacement has sparked a lot of controversy. Faz is back, and tell you what, very interesting to see the different takes. Right, hello and welcome back to Forever Sports, the second half, and an early penalty here for the Waratahs. Can they start this half strong? Can they try and force a bit of a panic within the Lions camp? They are very much in this game. They are just 9 points behind. They would have scored a try here. They can get up to as close as 2 points behind, and they've played very, very well. As you can see from the territory, not too much time inside the Lions 22 from Waratahs, but they've held pretty firm in most of the center of the park. We've got Ben Earls kind of got the most line breaks. Big shift so far from Josh Finnefleur with most tackles. Some of our stats on the corner there. You can see there Finn Smith 2 conversions, Hugh Jones 2 tries. And when you see the Waratahs side, you can see Lancaster with a try. Now looking for the Rolling Moya. Not getting much success, but now they've peeled to the right-hand side of the Waratahs. They're just short. Are they over? They are over! That's a way to start the second half. The Alliance Stadium erupts, and I tell you what, game firmly on here from the Waratahs. What a start to the half that is. We talked about them starting well. We talked about trying to put pressure, and this is the thing. The Lions and I had a whole conversation in the change room about what they need to do better in the second half, what they need to improve on, and to come out and then concede that quickly is a big, big moment. It's a huge, huge moment. Well, here we go. Big kick to come here. 4 points. The difference now. Oh, it's coming off the post. That was an important conversion. Right, it's a 4-point game. Well, there we go. So we talked about the restarts there. British and Irish Lions making a mistake. Early penalty, capitalizing the Waratahs, and all of a sudden they are 4 points behind. Now Bowen with the good clearance there. Yeah, it's a very good exit. Important to do the basics well, especially after you score. And basics like going and finding touch, exiting well, relieving some of the pressure. So I'm going to give a poll. Who will win the game? Quite simple. Who will win this clash? Lions or Waratahs? And I'll tell you what, right now, it could go either way. It really could. Luke Hunt, if you can find the line 2 is Captain Ty Byrne. Josh Finnefleur, Mitchell, Finn Smith, got Hupalotto trying to find a gap. Gamble make a good tackle. Smith going to Hugh Jones. Got a brace so far, but loses the ball in contact. So turnover ball. No, never mind. Backwards, says the referee. Back to the British Lions. Skuman. Tupolotto. Big tackle on Tyke Byrne. He's currently playing without a number at the moment. I think he's lost the ball in contact. No, ball available there. Skuman goes to Finn Smith. Short to Ben Earl. Mitchell going himself. Mitchell bursts through the middle. Mitchell, has he got the pace to go all the way? Killaway makes a half a hit, but a long pass out wide. King has to go to his knees to pick it up. Pops up Josh van der Flair. Josh van der Flair to the corner. I think he's gotten it. The referee's going to have a look, but I think Josh van der Flair is over in the corner. He doesn't look convinced, though, in fairness. Well, we have to wait and see. Only time will tell. Looks like he's missed it. Yeah, loses it forward. Josh van der Flair never actually gets it down. So, a false alarm there. It'll be a knock-on scrum. It's a great break, though, from Alex Mitchell. And an early threat there from the Lions. Just reminding Waratahs what they can do. Waratahs can't fall asleep yet. You need to see a bit more Killaway with ball in hand. Such an exciting player when he can get some space. King goes to Ben Earl. Good tackle on him. The bench going to play a big role tonight, I think. Mitchell wants to change the angle here. Does Finn Smith puts into his left boot. Well ticked up though from Lancaster, the try scorer in the first half. Big counter-attack though coming from the Lions. And turnover ball. Finley Beelum now. Ah, there we go. Waratahs being applauded for rolling away. Oh, Tupolotto with almost the no-look pass. And Tyke Byrne has lost it forward. Lambert now coming away. Lambert still going. Runs into Scott Cummings. Manages to get the ball away. To Lee Warner. Take it into contact. Taking his time as Teddy Wilson. Now he goes to the boot. Lancaster's going to give chase. McHatson right up against the touchline. Lancaster's there to meet him in the contact. A couple of players for Ketty coming through as well. Ball's available though for Alex Mitchell. Goes short. James Ryan. Mitchell now going to go to the boot. No touch play answer the call. Finn Smith just dabs it back towards Mitchell. Mitchell puts his head down. Brings in Hugh Jones. Hugh Jones goes to Kinghorn. Kinghorn's going to dab in front, but has been charged down. Back into the hands of Hugh Jones. Ball pops up. And knock on from the Waratahs, says the referee. So the Lions will have scrum free judged by the 22. Opportunity to attack, mainly down the right-hand side. Blair Kinghorn. Yeah, the charge down was fine. Then well picked up by Hugh Jones. Not entirely sure where this knock-on actually is. I mean, it's charged. Is that supposed to be? Is that supposed to be the knock-on? Surely not. So they might actually change the fee to the scrum here because that's the charge down. That's not a knock-on. It's an awful call if that's what they're calling a knock-on. Trying to see which scrum off has the ball here. It looks like it's going to be a Lion scrum, which, yeah, that's bizarre. That is an awful call from the referee. I'm surprised the TMO hasn't gotten involved there, actually, and said, excuse me, it's actually the wrong call. Now, a bit of a reset here. No subs so far from either side, actually. So no one's gone to the bench just yet as we approach the 50-minute mark. Still half an hour in the game. Plenty of time here for Waratahs. And a free kick here to Alliance. Taken quickly from Alex Mitchell. To Tubeloto. Pops it up to Finn Smith. Finn Smith on the bounce there to Hugo Keenan. Under a lot of pressure there. Mitchell now pops up to his captain, Tyke Byrne. Mitchell's kick is charged down, but knocked forward from Waratahs. So we'll have another scrum. Sloppy. All getting a bit sloppy at the moment. Just a bit disjointed. Tubeloto's had a solid game, I think. Looking good in the number 12. So we are going to see substitutions here. Change at hooker here for Waratahs. Maya Valanu comes to the park for Ethan Dobbins. First change of the game. Let's see if we can get a bit of a better scrum here. It's a big shot coming from the Waratahs. Then the Lions. Ball available for Mitchell. Hugh Keenan first receiver. Long pass out wide to Kinghorn. Kinghorn comes back inside. And that's gone for... Nope. Nothing says the referee. Almost ball popped out and Josh Van der Fleer cleaned up. Available for Mitchell on the 22. Finn Smith goes to Cummins. Cummins pops it up to Tupeloto. Tupeloto gets away to Pierce Skuman. Mitchell, ball backwards. Mitchell with a bit of space. Mitchell still going. Fitzsmith now pops it up. Ben-Ul to Mac Hansen. Mac Hansen puts the grabber in, and he's not going to have the pace to be able to retrieve it. They'll go back for a scrum where he kicked it. It's not quite clinical enough here, the Lions, to be perfectly honest. I mean, they should not be only 14 points ahead of a Waratah side. They have not been phenomenal in Super Rugby this year. Right, yeah, we've got some replacements, though. So Pierce Kuhlman makes way. A couple of scrum penalties from him. Was pretty active. 2 in front of Merva onto the park as well. Who's he replaced? We'll tell you in a bit. It is Genjon. Joe McCarthy on as well. Looks like Luca and Dickey's making way. So I think we've seen quite a few subs here. Yeah, so finish a brand new front row here for the Lions. Hugo Keenan off. Now this is going to be interesting. Joe van der Merwe onto the wing. That'll mean Blair Kinghorn back to full back. And I think that for me, should be the starting full back for the Lions. Finn Smith puts it on the air for Kinghorn to give chase. This is where Kinghorn can come into his zone. Good contest, but it falls back to the Waratah side. Liotta. Tyke Furlong onto the park as well. Big counter ruck though, and the ball available now for the Lions. Sloppy that from the Waratahs. Ben-Ul goes to Cummings. Pops up to McCarthy. McCarthy almost through. Pick up and go here from Tyke Byrne. Ball pops up for Tyke Furlong. Tyke Furlong spinning in the tackle. Trying to get the ball away. Can't. Turn over the ball once again. And the Waratahs kick has been charged down. And a couple of knock-ons, I think. I think Kinghorn might have just absolutely slotted that drop goal, by the way. Just very casually. So now substitution for Waratahs. Matthew Phillip coming on. Yeah, good breakdown work there for the Lions. Waratahs just caught a little bit napping, to be honest. It's a very disjointed performance so far for the Lions. They've not been clinical enough. Right, water's off, and we're ready to get going. First scrum since the brand new front row for the Lions. Still the original props here for Waratahs, but Maha Velianu is on. Free kick Waratahs. Well, there we go. And I think, yeah, a bit of belief. I mean, 50 minutes in, you're only 4 points behind. This is where you start to believe. Can they do something special? Can they create something here? Early on, says CJ Tenford and Sons says, greetings from Australia. Waratahs kick. I mean, they've been parked inside their own half from pretty much the entire first 12 minutes, really. But what have they done now here? So, Tupou's kicked it. That's so base. They didn't tap and go. They just passed it, and Tupou then kicked it. I mean, what Tupou's doing kicking it, who knows? But the result is a British and Irish Lions scrum inside the 22. It's so silly. Yeah. A bit of a slip there with the voice of the referee. Straight down. Penalty Lions. Big scrum, and you kind of expect that from the brand new front row. Right, decision time now, really, for the Lions. Are going to go to the corner. Would have been tempted for it to have a scrum, to be honest. Right, so to the corner they go. Big opportunity this for the Lions. Waratahs just need to try and remain firm here. The longer they hold out, the more the Lions will get frustrated. But you also start to feel it's a bit of a matter of time at this rate. Good defense so far. Once is the core. Dan Sheehan onto the park, controlling things at the back. The left-hand side, Mitchell. Oh, he goes himself. He's been threatening as Alex Mitchell. They finally find their first points for the second half. It's taken them almost 15 minutes. But Mitchell solves the dummy. He goes over. And that's a big blow for the Waratahs. And it all comes from the brand new front row winning that penalty, creating a bit of dominance, and Mitchell obliges and says, thank you very much. I'll take the opportunity and grab a try myself. Forty seconds on the clock here for Finn Smith. Yeah, straight down the middle. It's a good kick there from Finn Smith. Right, 21 points to 10. Work to do now all of a sudden. 50 minutes passed so far in this first half. Right, 21 points to 10. 25 minutes left on the clock. Still a lot of time. So the Waratahs don't need to panic. Still a little bit of time. Ben Earl underneath it. A ball at the top from Alex Mitchell. Good take there from Crichton. And down it goes from the Waratahs. Yeah, I was about to say, referee taking his time, but pretty easy to award that, unfortunately. So just getting a bit sloppy now, the Waratahs. They've had some very nice moments, but been a bit sloppy the last few minutes. Right, scrum time now. 11 points to the advantage. Waratahs have to score next. They're going to have a chance to try and do something special, yeah. I think they've really lost their chance with that try, but you never know. Tubalata spinning away. Tubalata still going. Tubalata still going. What a game he's had. Mitchell to the left-hand side. McCarthy. Long pass out wide from Finn Smith. Now a bit of space for Jordan van der Merwe. His first touch of the game. Was very bright on Wednesday. Mitchell to the right-hand side. McCarthy pops it up. Hugh Jones a little bit to nowhere. He picked up by Dan Sheehan. Pops it up to Josh van der Fleer. Josh van der Fleer comes inside. Josh van der Fleer with a pace. Pops it away to Ellis Genge. And Gamble on the floor. Wins the penalty. Really good work that from Gamble. He's had a very good game. Owen says, sitting in Cork Airport departure doesn't land in live stops and their Sky Sports isn't working. Oh, shit, nothing worse, isn't it? Absolutely nothing worse. Wonder if they're on their way. Right, so the restart there. Mitchell goes to the boot. Turnover ball. That was very sloppy from the Waratahs, and they're back inside their own 20. This is also the problem, you know. As much as they've hung on and they've defended really well, they've just been. I mean, the territory stats say everything. I mean, it's 27% of the games have been played inside their own 22. 38. I mean, almost 60% of it, in fact, more than 60%, more than 60% has been played inside their own half, and it's just unsustainable, unfortunately. Now in the midside, Manhattan coming off the wing there. Ben Earl, 5 meters out. Lions fully into their stride now. Mitchell goes to Ellis Genge, and then everything just opens up for him. Ellis Genge is just short and scores. The defense has unfortunately just kind of evaporated at the moment. So frustrating that from the Waratahs. They've been so good, but now the floodgate's starting to open. And this is the problem. This is where it threatens to get ugly. Is that, you know, you've been down 14 points to 10 for 50 minutes of the game. They're checking the grounding here. But if this is awarded, then all of a sudden you go from 10 points to 14 to, could be 28 points to 14. And this game just can very quickly start to get away from you. No, the ball's been lost forward. Well, there we go. That's a reprieve for Waratahs. That try will not count. Knocked on is the call. A couple of the lads in the stands going for a bit of a beer run. You know, that 20 minutes into the second half. It's probably about right. We'll get the beers going later for the box stream. Don't you worry. CJ saying, Lions to open the floodgates now. Well, this is the thing. They're just starting to look really tired of the Waratahs. It's been an heroic effort so far, but it's starting to catch up to them. Mitchell, left-hand side. Tubalata. Hands. On goes to Hugh Jones. Hugh Jones puts his head down. Hugh Jones got Joe van der Merwe outside. Joe van der Merwe throws it back inside. Knocked forward once again. Marcus Smith on the park, by the way. Looking for that cross kick towards Mac Hansen. It's a good one as well. Mac Hansen comes on the inside, brings in Ben Earl. Champagne Rugby this time for the Lions. Just playing heads up and just having a go. Tyke Fred on quick ball to Scott Cummings, but the referee wants to stop us and bring it to an end. He's gotten a call from his assistant. It's a damn shame. We're going to have, I think, a knock on here. Was it as he out, actually, I think, Dion van der Merwe. Maybe that's the call here. Yeah, Dion van der Merwe was out, so it's actually worked out for the Waratahs. They have the line just outside of 22. And it's a bit of a messy line out, but it has come away to, I think it's Teddy Wilson's has gotten it. Get away now, filling a scrum off. And that's Jack Morgan on the back of a man of the match performance onto the park. Now Wilson's going to go to the boot. In fact, he goes all the way back. And that looks like it's a replacement, actually. I think it's a couple more placements for the Waratahs as well. Doesn't find touch. Dion van der Merwe right up against the touchline. In the number 20 jersey. Maybe becoming a bit of a hybrid player like an Andre Esterhuizen. He'd be big enough to play in the flanks with Dion van der Merwe, in fairness. I think it was Henry O'Donnell who was retained Edmead to come onto the park for Waratahs. I think they're both on, actually. Furlong, a first receiver. Marcus Smith. Marcus Smith, ball over the top. Was that a little bit forward? No, says the referee. Ben Earl comes back inside. Ben Earl still going. It's Edmund there. Smith goes short to Furlong. Lions up in the tempo at the moment. Marcus Smith goes to Kinghorn. Kinghorn, long pass out wide. Was that very flat back? Hansen now. Gets reined in by Lancaster. He's had a good game as Lancaster. Over the ball as well. Wins the penalty. Holding on here are the Waratahs. Holding on. But holding on well. In fairness, holding on well. Right, up towards the 10-meter line. Waratahs, I'll tell you what, score one more try and make this a game. Be so, so cool if you go into the last sort of 10 minutes with this game potentially going either way. Ball at the top. Mitchell, because that's stolen from Lions. Ben Earl, half a tackle on him. Gets back up and has another go. Sloppy from the Waratahs. The line hasn't been good enough today. Marcus Smith caught on the ball, but going back for a knock on the ground by British Irish Lions. Another reprieve from the Waratahs. Right, another scrum down. 15 minutes, or just over 15 minutes to go. About 60 minutes almost on the dot, actually. Waratahs scrum on the 10-meter line. They played really well tonight in Waratahs. They really have played above and beyond what we expected to see from them. So big credit to them for doing that, making it a bit of a game. And they won the penalty at scrum time as well. So there we go. They're not going to die wondering, are the Waratahs. Phil War watching on. Rugby AU CEO. Doesn't have much hair. I'm not sure how much hair he had when he started the job. He's certainly going to have a lot less when he finishes it. Scrappy though, but backwards is the referee. Edmund goes himself. Back himself against Marcus Smith. Teddy Wilson, good pick up that from Gamble. He's had then he loses it forward. Pity, he's had a really strong game today as Gamble. But I want to see if there's maybe a bit of offside. Nope, knock on, says the referee. I'll tell you what, I'd like to see an angle of that. It almost looks like he tries to offload and it's actually knocked forward from the Lions. It is. It is. Surely the TMO gets involved here and says, no, actually, it was knocked on by the Lions. This will be the second time they've made a poor call against the Waratahs from a knock-on. And the TMO's there for a reason. Yeah, you see? Yeah, it's going to be switched. There we go. There we go. So Gamble tried to actually offload it. Hugh Jones knocked it down. And the referee's coming to tell him exactly that. Just to say, no, it was actually knocked on by Lions. It's a Waratah scrum. Yeah, tries to get the offload away, and it very clearly comes with Hugh Jones. In fact, it's just a bizarre call in all every way you look at it. Right, big scrum, yeah, but penalty for the Lions. Well, in the end, it didn't make any difference whatsoever, did it? So the Lions win the penalty. 50 minutes to go. That was a big opportunity for the Waratahs. They let that one slip. Marcus Smith now will kick to the corner. He's gone past the halfway line. Just past the halfway line, the 10-meter. Big celebrations coming from Ben Earl. So the entire Lions bench is currently on. In terms of the Waratahs, Barrett has not come on yet. Neither has Jack Grant. Ben White's not on yet for the Lions. It's a bit of a strange one. I'm surprised they haven't tried to give him at least 20 minutes or so. Not the best pass that to Pilato, but he's making it work, bouncing away from 1 or 2. But then Stone, oh no, I thought it was Stone on the ground. Not quite. Ben Earl steps back inside. Ben Atchison's coming on as Ben Earl. Mitchell goes to the boot. Swirling in the air. And falls back to Liotta. Liotta with a bit of space. Good tackle there from Mitchell. Just manages to bring him down. Wilson. Edmund. Space out wide here for the Waratahs. But the British Irish Lions are up quickly. And Gamble's lost that backwards. All that momentum the Waratahs gone. They're going to have to restart again now. Little chip over the top from Wilson. It's not a great chip, but Edmund's there and chases onto it. Now it falls back to Wilson. Wilson with a bit of space. And he chips ahead. And it's just going to stay. Oh, I'll tell you what. I know who's lost a touch there. I think it's going to be a Lions line out. Bounce of the ball. Could have been a different story. You can see why he's the only one of 2 players that hasn't been replaced yet, Teddy Wilson. He's been so good tonight. Edmonds made a big difference coming on. Back to Teddy Wilson. Didn't quite have the legs, but a little chip over the top. Mac Hansen up against Lancaster. It is a Lions lineup, but, credit to the Waratahs. They conceded 2 tries in quick succession. I thought that could have been potentially the floodgates opening, but they've done very well by not, just falling over. They've stayed in the game. They're still in the fight here. And if the scores remain like this, it'll be a very valiant effort from the Waratahs. Certainly the best performance we've seen from any of the Australian sides up against this Lions side. Going for the rolling more here are the Lions. Ball's available. It is Genji comes and joins. Mitchell wants to use it. Does use it. Goes short to Ben Earl. Ben Earl gets away from 1. Still going is Ben Earl. Still going up towards the 10-meter line. Quick ball here from Mitchell. To Marcus Smith. Marcus Smith. Long pass out wide. To Joe van der Merwe. Joe van der Merwe. Past the 10-meter line. Mitchell goes short to Genge. And Waratahs winning on the ground. Just staying in the fight. That's all they're doing. They're staying in the fight. Yeah, and a couple of words there, I think, coming from Joey Walton to Alex Mitchell, talking about how much he keeps talking. Yeah, saying see you later, says Joe Walton. Brave call when you're 11 points down, but I like the spirit. Right, entering the final 10 minutes in about 30 seconds. Ball over the top, and Jack Morgan snuffed it. Why go complicated? I don't understand that. Lineouts have been so bad from the Waratahs. Marcus Smith now is going to just pump this downfield. And that's going to stay up just by the try line. And all the way back go the Waratahs. And you can see the frustration there from Lancaster. They were inside the 22. They're going to go all the way back. Right, Edmund pumps this downfield. There's Mitchell. And he'll pop that up to Ben and Earl. Lions back on the front foot. Mitchell switches that. Mark Smith inside ball to Hugh Jones. Hugh Jones, for me, has to have the number 13 jersey come the Test Series. Playing such good rugby. Smith. Morgan pops it up. Good hands. Almost a bit of an interception. It goes loose and it's forward from the Lions. Not been good tonight, in all honesty. There's so many errors. I'd love to see what the error rate's been, actually. Unfortunately, it's a difficult stat to try and find. But it has been a very high error rate. Right, so scrum here for Waratahs. 9 minutes left on the clock. Have we got Barrett on yet? Poor Jack Barrett's the only one that hasn't come on. I think he's just come on. As has Jack Grant. So both benches have been emptied in the final 9 minutes here. Can the Waratahs maybe score one try? Just make it a bit interesting. Converted try, 4 minutes, and Ben White's on as well. 4 points difference, and no, they can't because this Lions scrum has bailed them out time and time again. You don't win games when you win every single time as a scrum. You can see the penalty, unfortunately. And that has been the case this afternoon. Every single time there's been a scrum, more, I think it's about a good sort of 7 out of 10 type of thing. There have been penalties conceded from the Waratahs. Down. Ben White pops out backhands and goes to Hugh Jones. Hugh Jones scored the first try. Almost had a double. That does have a double, actually. Jack Morgan. He's having a very good tour. Man of the match on Wednesday. Ty Byrne, the captain for today. And another penalty at the breakdown for the Waratahs. And it's Gamble again. I tell you what, if you're looking for the best Waratahs player, it is that man there. He has been absolutely brilliant, has Charlie Gamble. At least 3 turnovers that I can remember. He's been around the park. He's putting his body on the line. And they're just keeping this game alive with the Waratahs. Ty Byrne. Right in front. Gamble's on quickly. Dan Sheehan and can't get rid of him. Wow, Waratahs have had a very poor line, but that time it was much better from... Well, it was almost better from Leota, but the pass down wasn't particularly good. Joe Walton, lined up by Ben Earl. Edmund. Now the replacement there, bit of fresh legs there, and Henry O'Donnell takes it in. But then they knock it on. Oh, goodness me. From the sublime to the ridiculous, really, at times, Waratahs. They'll go have a really good turnover, keep themselves in the game, bit of a boost, and then they'll go and just knock something on like that, and that's really, really poor. 4 steals from Charlie Gamble, 12 tackles. That's a really good effort from him. Right, I'm predicting a penalty. Oh, there it goes. Oh, goodness me. It's so bad. Inside ball from Matt Cancer, left the ball behind, go back for the scrum penalty. It's just, it's rinse and repeat, Joe. Rinse and repeat every single time. Marcus Smith will just pop this into the corner. Last 5 minutes of the game here. Waratahs are giving it their all, but it looks like it's going to be another win for the Lions. To be fair, when the Lions go on tour, you know, the kind of the expectations are they don't lose a game and they got to win the Test series on in these midweek, well, in the tour games. Then your Test series, you got to win it. That's always the expectation when the Lions go on tour. Ronnie Moore's not going to be stopped. I think it might be Eds Gaines who's got it, but the referee is looking for the ball. Sure, this has to be awarded. Unless he's actually just had so many people of his own players in front of him, he hasn't been able to get it down. Which I think could have actually very well be the case here. We're going upstairs to have a look. I mean, he's clearly over the line. It's whether he's managed to get through the horde of players to get any grounding. Richard Smith says, now you know how we feel playing the bomb squad. Fair enough. Fair enough. It's a very good point, actually. I mean, it's not quite the 6-2 split because of that injury, but yeah, I mean, literally, ever since that rotation front row has come on, it's just been penalty after penalty. Now we're only more the physicality of the pack. You've not been able to match it. It's a very good observation. All right, let's see what the decision here is from the referee. There's obstruction at the mall, actually. So it's going to actually be a penalty for the Waratahs, for the looks of it. Obstruction. Yeah, I've seen quite a few penalties for that today. Something they're going to have to get right. In fact, if I was the rest of Rasmussen and them watching, I would be very much looking at those mauls and making sure that you get the set right, because as soon as you got somebody who's in front, then they've been calling it obstruction. Got to get that timing right. John van der Merwe. Right, turnover ball here. Ball over the top of them, Waratahs. Doing for the Merva going back to retrieve it. But another penalty. I think it's for offside against Waratahs. Having a look at this kick from Marcus Smith was just... I mean, he just kicked it dead. That's awful from him. Absolutely awful. Can't be making mistakes like that. So it's a scrum back to where he kicked it. Just over 2 minutes left on the clock. And the ball's got lost forward from the Waratahs. A bit of a sloppy last 20 minutes. Marcus Smith makes a half break. Holds on to the ball. Waratahs on a shoot. It'll be turnover ball. And they have turned over the ball. Michael Gamble's going to have to go to achieve it. I mean, it's just going to run out. Surely go back for the scrum for the knock-on. Aaron Smith in attendance. That's an interesting person you wouldn't expect to see there. Does that mean he might be confirmed for that Australia-New Zealand team? Haven't confirmed the entire squad. That could be a very interesting prospect, actually. Got some very good players in that squad. I'm really enjoying the way it's starting to shape up. I don't see why you wouldn't go look at somebody like an Aaron Smith. He's currently in his off-season. Sure, he can play a game or two. And another big scrum, and here comes another penalty, unfortunately. Ball over the top. Good work, that long pass out wide. Doing for the Merva. Short from NL to Cummings, who made a good run. Looking to try and finish. Ah, and as I said, that Ty Burn loses it forward. I think we're going to end up with a final score 21 points to 10. It is a penalty for the Waratahs. Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a good performance. It's been a really good performance from the Waratahs. 20 taken here from them. And I think they've knocked it on there. Yeah, they have. And that should be it. Yeah, you're going to have the scrum, but that's going to be... I'm very likely to find... Well, to be fair, the British Irish Lions will want to have another try here because they won't be happy with this score. Tupelots, a nice little move off the back shoulder. Right, so we are going to have one final scrum. Siren has gone. Right, they're going to have a reset here. I mean, yeah. We know it's going to be a penalty. That's the one thing we do know. Free kick. Ben White takes it quickly. Marcus Smith goes to Mac Hansen. Mac Hansen. Ball over the top towards Blair Kinghorn. Blair Kinghorn. Long pass out wide. Doing for the Merva. Doing for the Merva. He's got a whole Waratahs team in front of him. And he gets tackled in touch. There it is. Right, well, there we go. In fairness, look at the reactions from the Waratahs. I actually like that. They're celebrating, and you can just see that is a really good effort from them. They haven't won it, but that is a really good effort. There'll be lots of questions asked about this last team after that performance, and that's what you want. For example, the Wallabies will be watching that going, listen, if the Waratahs minus feel their stars can go toe-to-toe and take it to the Lions, we can give them a go. So that's a really good performance. In terms of answering Michael's question, nailed down starters for me, that man on the screen over there, Tupoloto, has to be in that side. I think Jack Morgan has to be in that side. Based on today, Hugh Jones has to be in that side. I think that Ben Earl's putting his hand up a lot. I think Ty Burry's getting around. But I tell you what, I don't think there's that many players apart from that who really sort of, today, for example, put their hand up. So I think Mario Toja obviously still probably got that starting berth. Josh van der Fleer was all right. But I don't think too many players today, apart from the ones I mentioned, really said, I've got to be in that side. So lots to ponder for NFL. People will see you all later for the Springbok watch-along. We're going to take a bit of a break before then. We will have build-up starting very, very shortly on that game. Building up to the big one for our audience, our South African audience. So we'll see you guys all a bit later. Please do smash like on the way out. Please do subscribe to the channel as well.